Marcella and Kelly and Jen and Becky over at Twin Brook. And we have one of our rookies here, Riza Pegler, who is now a representative at Sally Ride Elementary School. And she will be sharing those duties with Abby Doby. And I see that Abby is making her way into the room. We are expecting a few more rookies, but I won't refer to them as rookies for very long as we start this year, and introduce or reintroduce some of the roles and ways we're going to support you this year, and sharing a few tech tips. And not only sharing them, but getting perspective from each of you on how they're working in your building, and possibilities of moving forward when you see a new tech tip. Today we will be speaking more to AT and Chrome and Google, but we certainly do not forget our roots, our MCPS computers and the software and how they can support students. So at any time in the chat, add your perspective, and we will build from each other's conversations and collaborate, because this is what it's all about. It is the AT Liaison project, and we function much like a PLC, where we learn and grow and share from one another. All right, it is now 4:16, and we're going to get going. And first of all, I wanted to make sure you are aware that, yep, I'm struggling with my mouse, that we are recording, because we do know that we're going to have some growing pains and have to have some flexibility in when these webinars are running or when we're hosting them. 4:15, was actually, okay, yeah, it was a shot in the dark, a dartboard, and to begin with. And, we've gotten feedback already of how that's a challenge. So that's why we want to record, so that you can go back at any time and review this. You can review it even if you've been here. You'll have links to different resources that you can go to when you're not here or after the webinar is over. And we know, too, that you're not going to be able to come to every single one, but we want to be able to impart new information and the chat from each person. All right, so today's webinar is an introduction to several of you to being a AT Liaison. Welcome. And we're going to also touch upon some of the items and topics that are currently trending. And we say that, trending is a broad term, kind of what's happening this week, oh my gosh, what's happening. So as you know, it's ever changing in the world of Chrome and Google, and keeping up is just, part of the game, part of the process. So, okay, I'm Cindy Walsh. I started out the conversation, but I'm not going to monopolize it, because I'm here with your other host,
Alice Wright, also with the Hyatt team.
All right. All right, so we carry on our scope and sequence. This is an image that when we are putting together the webinars and the content, we want to always go back to what is our original scope and sequence. And it does involve professional development. We hope we can share some information with you, as well as you sharing with each other. And our perspective of, is it assistive technology or is it universal design for learning? And we often look at these tools first through a UDL lens, but then if that student does require it, we know then it's assistive technology. As we go through our agenda today, we'll be talking about how last year we found kind of organizational strategies and how to reach out to staff and organize ourselves with resources, and we're going to share that with you. Okay. All right. We want to welcome all our liaisons who have returned for perhaps year 2, perhaps year 3, and some of you are just beginning. And we, again, appreciate it. We are excited to have 17 active schools We are in the process of continuing to recruit at some of our older schools, but also in some of the new schools, so we continue to grow. And sometimes we've grown because our members have moved to new schools, and other times it's another school that's in the cluster that we would like to engage in this process as well. So just know you're not alone. You're one of 17 right now. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the organizational tips and strategies that we put in place last year. We did kind of go back to our roots. We started with Google Drive. We started with a website, but we found out, guess what? Outlook is the more common denominator for each of us across, elementary, secondary levels. So we will continue to correspond using Outlook, and you will be getting an email at the conclusion of this webinar that will have the contact list for all the AT liaisons, so that when you're ready to respond, you can just type that in, and up will come all those individuals and their address. So we found that helpful to share. We also, and I love this one, is we created an inbox, an AT liaison folder that I can set up and put all of your names in the alerts, and it will direct your emails into that inbox folder, that AT liaison folder. You're also going to receive the rules and alert quick guide on how to set that up. Now we will be happy to field any calls or questions if that quick guide is not clear, but you will essentially be creating another folder under your inbox, and in will come, so be sure to put me in there, and Alice, because I know you're already going, oh my gosh, they're calling us or talking to us again, but it will direct and sort those emails directly in there. So that was a very favorable tool as well. Last year, when we started talking about outreach and kind of finding a way to get into a routine, we encouraged our members to set a reminder. Pick a day of the week that works for you. If it's Tuesday, 3 o'clock, every other week or once a month. Again, we're not here to overwhelm you. We are, and we want you to go forward at a measure and a pace that's comfortable for you. And we'll share what we're talking about in terms of outreach. I know earlier this month I sent an email about upcoming trainings, and that is some information that you can, share forward. Yes, forward with you to your staff, and to kind of keep yourself kind of organized once a month. Oh, I got to do that AT liaison thing. That's okay. You can call it that. That will just remind you. That's it.
You can put an appointment in your calendar.
Exactly. And it's time to upgrade those signatures again. I took a Quaz Outlook signature, and she has quite the credentials. She is an English and World Studies co-teacher at Dr. Martin Luther King Middle School, but feel free to insert that you are an assistive technology liaison for your school. Just another way to kind of message that there is, an individual in the building who, not saying that you have to answer all the questions, but you may direct them or the question to Hyatt or to another member of the AT liaison. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Nope, I think that covers it.
All right, I went through that really quickly, but it is just a matter of sitting down and hitting, going through and setting that up on your Outlook calendar, on your
first task if you're a newbie.
That's it. That is.
Even if not, because you have to update your list if you were here last year.
That's right.
With our new names.
Yes, we're excited to have several new names this year. All right, so. I was rhyming. We're going to, introduce and remind you to stay loose, all right? I don't want you to feel that even because this looks like a really long list, that we're here to overwhelm, okay? And again, I'll go back, in a month, you may spend 45 minutes to an hour, kind of addressing AT liaison issues. Although I grin, if I send you so many emails, that might push it over the hour limit. I'll try to reduce that. But nonetheless, you know, in your kind of role as an AT liaison, we would like for you to get a chance to introduce yourself to staff. Your principals are very much aware of you and that you are that representative in the building. And you could do a brief intro at a future staff meeting, essentially telling them, you know, how you're a part of this Assistive Technology Liaison project, much like a PLC, that you'll be collaborating with other individuals from, actually we're hoping 23 other schools, but currently 17 active schools, and that you would be sharing information about upcoming trainings. You'll share information about AT tips or sometimes AT issues that if you know your teachers may be using read and write or are using Cami. We're going to talk about Cami as a document reader, reads PDFs. But if there's issues, like just this week, Cami disappeared. Oh my gosh. So, but it then came back. You know, there was work on different ends to make that reappear. But sometimes those little situations that occur, you can share that information with staff. And again, like I don't want to bombard you with emails. I know you don't want to bombard your staff. So that's why you want to judiciously plan when you're going to send out information and what kinds.
And if you can't get, you know, a few minutes at a staff meeting, it's okay to do it in your team meetings that you have our secondary folks. If you're working with a particular content area and you want to start there and then move forward, it's okay to start small. You know, or if you're in elementary and you're in a, you know, a grade level team meeting, you can start there in terms of introducing yourself. So just try to figure out your school dynamics and then start from where you can.
Exactly, exactly. And so we are going to share links to some of the resources that have been created over the years, whether they're info slides that can alert staff to products like Bookshare, or to you know, Google Slides and how they can support different learners. You know, so again, when you think about those tools being, you know, used universally, and some tools that may be more to support struggling students. But we will share links to the Google Drive that will have different images that you can share. That there are strategies, you know, we can sell. I mean, a lot of teachers are trying to find ways to reach their students that are at the margins, who are struggling. And we have resources in AT that will support students in reading and writing and math and the ever popular organization in metacognition areas. So, so a lot of them have been created, but as I said, Google is ever changing. And a new tool will come up, and if MCPS allows it into the Chrome store, but also not only that if MCPS, you know, hasn't approved it, but how we can advocate. There's a request system to request apps to be added, and the more, the merrier. The more that I think Octo sees a need or an interest, then they will hopefully investigate it in a timely manner. So,
and also keep in mind, it may be new information for our new schools, but even with our schools who participated last year, it doesn't hurt to remind teachers of things that you had reminded them of last year, that they may have forgotten or didn't get a chance to utilize it last year, but as they're planning for instruction this year, it may be something that can trigger their memory that they wanted to try. So just think about the things that are going on in your building and which one of those images that we may have shared last year or tools we may have shared last year that you want to repeat again at the beginning of this year.
Exactly. All right, so staying on this introduce and stay loose slide. Well, yes, could AT liaisons have their own Chromebook? You know, once again, you know, it is a tool that's occurring, you know, throughout all of our grade levels. But fortunately, you can do so much of this testing and trying out using your Chrome browser. So, so you don't have to run out and buy a Chromebook, but know that you can, you know, set up your Google Chrome account, and I think you probably have, or if you haven't, we can make sure that happens for you. But you can test out these apps and extensions that way. So you will not be behind. In fact, you know,
that's how we do most of our testing.
That's exactly how we do it, and we know Chromebooks were for, and this is going to get me in trouble, Chromebooks were for general education students. So we have to consider all students, both at school and at home, and really remind them and show them how they can access all these really neat tools on the Chrome browser. Okay, hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble. All right, so to introduce, now last year, a lot of our, I'm going to clear the board. All right, I'm going to erase all of our green check marks, and I'm glad you all can hear. And now with the green check mark, how many of you came with your microphones today? And that is something else that we will provide to our AT liaisons, because we want folks to share amongst each other. All right, and we have a couple of folks. And now I'm going to ask a couple of brave souls to talk about how they organize themselves, or how they have worked with, you know, how they've taken on the role of an AT liaison in their school. So I'm going to ask some of our veterans to share, volunteer. Raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Don't let me go to that follow.
Marcella, that your mic isn't working at the moment.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'm hoping, Becky, would you be okay to just say, and please, Becky was new last year, and there is give yourself a break. It's a learning curve. And there's no expectation for you to have, this is not an expert model, that you're a vessel like, okay, I might be able to direct you to folks who can answer this question. I can take this question somewhere. So just know that we don't want you to feel overwhelmed. So Becky, hey, just say hi, Becky. Hi, Becky. I'm not sure if Becky's mic is working either. So, all right. Well, we'll come back if we can. All right. And if you have any, does anyone have any questions or any comments regarding how you can put in the chat, how you have taken on the role of AT liaison? What does it look like for you?
Give you guys a moment to compose your thoughts.
All right. I know we have a shy group, and we accept that, and which are okay. But if any oh, yay, because Becky was typing so much. All right, so Becky says this year really want to start talking more to the staff at Twinbrook outside of my special education team, and that's kind of what Alex was saying. You know, a lot of our AT liaisons started within their department, started within even their teams, and you build out, and that is fine. Take the steps that you're comfortable with, and everyone has been using the voice to text a lot so far this year. Okay, so that is very good, and I'm sure you're seeing an increase in your students being able to produce and participate in the writing process.
Marcella, you started your UDL PLC in your building. You meet monthly. That's great. Let us know how we can support you.
Careful, don't ask Marcella that. We'll be on the agenda before you know it. But that is what we're here for, too. Certainly, we send announcements for county-wide trainings, and that works and doesn't work for some folks. But sometimes there's, you know, issues or topics like AT, assistive technology in the Chrome browser, that we can bring to your school. We can do these trainings where it's convenient and timely. And we know that sometimes we go in and we will work within the school day and teams will rotate through.
I knew you had that already organized. You just have to let us know what the dates are.
Yes, indeed. So we can come during the school day, before or after. We, you know, we'll work it into our calendar. So keep that in mind as you promote AT in your school.
Or you're having conversations with your leadership about things, your staff development teacher in your building. There are ways you can support any of these tools. Any of these tools can support something that you're doing within your school building in terms of maybe reading or writing initiatives in your building. That's a good way to dovetail what we're talking about and into something that's already occurring in your building.
That's it. All right, so just remember, stay loose on this. All right, so I want to just share our resources, and again, you will be getting the link in the email that's coming to you. I am going to navigate to my Chrome, so I should share my desktop. All right, so hang in there. The current screen is going to disappear, and I am going to share my desktop. All right, and since the network kind of runs slowly, I've set all this up. I've essentially gone into my mcpsmd.net account and opened my drive.
And the way you know you're in the right Google account is because in the top left-hand corner it's going to say MCPS. So if you have more than one Google account and you want to make sure you're in the right one, that's the way for you to know.
All right, and I will be sending you a link to the folder, AT Liaisons 2015-2016, and in that folder we have resources, again, that we generated from last year, that we have math resources where individuals went in, searched web, found relevant videos and tools that teachers can use in one place, split up between secondary and elementary. We have, if you've lost that wonderful timeline of events, we have it here. And again, just going back to the timeline of events, we put down 4:15, but if you don't mind, before we leave today, we could do a poll or just, we want you to think about a day of the week, a time during that day that you actually would have a window to participate in one of these webinars, like 30 minutes. We will promise to keep it short and concise and directed to you, trying to find ways to alleviate the problem of a 4:15 start time or a 4:30 or 4, you know, because we're just running into all kinds of issues. So we want you to think about a day of the week, or maybe there's a couple, so give us a couple, a window that you have, and then we'll try to get as many people there as possible, okay? All right, so in addition to that folder, so the timeline of events, see it as flexible. We will adjust because we want more of you than less of you, but we will also record the webinar so you can get it later, at a later time. We have a list of all of our AT Liaison members, and we will put in other supporting documents for you. So this is live. We will add to it. You can add to it. You can take away from it. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So I am going to go back.
Stop sharing.
I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I may do that one. Hello. Big red button will do it. Okay. So you will be getting those links. Another resource that has been been very valuable. I've been receiving them. Have you been getting them? So Brenda Brown is an instructional specialist in the special education department, and she sends a UDL tip of the week. And often it's websites that can support teachers in different, productivity, teaching strategies. That so she reviews it and then sends it to you and gives you a little description of it. And so that's another resource that you could consider if you want to forward it to staff, if you find that it may be relevant. Okay, so you'll be getting those shortly because Brenda will also be getting an updated contact list. All right, so AT and Chrome. We want to show you what's hot these days, what's pretty new. Oh, Marcella.
Yeah.
Awesome. So she shares the UDL tip of the week on private each week, and they are great.
And so does Jen on the private folder. Feedback has been positive. Great.
All right, and just thank you for mentioning private folder, that is the avenue that most folks that take to promote the AT. All right, so what's hot right now, and we're going to show these to you briefly, and please go back and try them out, and you will be amazed, actually, the improvement in speech recognition that has occurred. We used to labor with Dragon and training students, and having a laptop. Where were they going to be able to get this? And now we are talking about almost equal quality of speech recognition right out of the, just click on the app and it goes. So keep in mind who would benefit from speech recognition. Would this be a UDL tool, or is it assistive technology? You have students that truly require this, students who are struggling with their motor skills, students who are, their writing is inhibited because their spelling is so difficult, and they perhaps because their spelling is bad, they've become disengaged. So we're going to show you this. This is so easy. You're going to be able to do this in your sleep tonight. So I'm going to once again leave. In fact, I'm not going to come back to the slide, this one, that shows Cami. So we're going to give you a preview, and you can think about how these can support students, all students, and specifically students that are struggling. So here we go again. I'm going to share my desktop. All right, I am going to bring up a new document. Well, I'm going to, because I love you guys and I want to share this with you. I'm going to say, okay, just because that's where I'm at. All right, you always know, you guys are good teachers, always put in a title. I know I have 10 untitled documents, and I don't want to look at all of them. So anyhow, so put in, the test, whatever. Okay, this is how easy speech recognition has become. All you have to do is go up to the Tools tab, okay? You're going to click on that. You're going to select Voice Typing. Click. All right, we're going to see if this works. So,
yeah,
it should work. Okay, we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to allow it to use my microphone. Hello, everyone, period. I am so glad you've been able to make it today, exclamation point. One day, we will be able to see each other face to face, period. New line. Don't you want to try this with your students? Question mark. New line. I don't talk all that clearly, and look how well it's doing. Exclamation point. New line. So what do you think? Let's see. We'll go back and look at the chat later and get some of your comments on how well this voice typing is working, period. And you always teach your students how to turn off the microphone.
Especially if they're going to have a side conversation with friends.
Yes. Yes. How are you today, Alice? Oh, very good. Oh, you pushed me. Oh, no. Okay, I forgot my lunch. Okay, that's it. But you see how well it does work, and it has new line options. And this is relatively new. I think this is in the last 2 weeks. About a month? Okay, well, I'm late. So about the last month, this has been available. And prior to that, we were looking at...
It's about a month for everybody in the world, about 2 weeks for MC2.
Okay, yes, yes. So, and that's, you know, a reality in MCPS. A nice feature may come on, but MCPS is going to look at it, vet it, make sure they're going to allow it exist in our world. So I don't know if we need to share this now that that's here.
I'm not sure that there's a cheat. I saw Jen's comment that she put in the chat. I'm not sure if there's a cheat sheet for this, but some of the commands are the same commands that you would use if you were using Dragon. So one of the things that I can make a note to do is actually print out that same sheet and see how many of them actually work here. And then we can let you guys know.
New line. Alice, remember to make a cheat sheet for Jen and all AT liaisons on voice commands in voice typing.
Well, thank you for putting it in writing.
Okay. So that is really the quick and dirty launching of voice typing now. We used to go into add-ons and add speech recognition, and just to show you what that looked like. All right, it used to have this bar, this workspace off to the right, and you go through the same process, and you would speak, pause, and it would send the information over. Now it's all in one. So just in case one seems to be glitchy, you have something to fall back on. Okay, so that is showing voice typing. Let me make sure I am using the correct term here. Tools, voice typing. Okay. Now we're going to leave our voice typing, and we're going to show you the other nice new app. It's revised app because they took it down, you know, did their thing, and have brought it back to us, and that is Cami. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a PDF, and for you elementary teachers, this is a first grade worksheet. And there is a young man who is not engaged in the writing process for various reasons. And we have, essentially this worksheet was, you know, in the teacher's repertoire, scanned it on the school copier, sent it to their email so that she received it in a PDF. She was then able to upload it to her Google Drive, and now I will go through the process of opening it with Cami, formerly Notable PDF. I click on that. It OCRs it, gets it ready. All right, I've got the chat on my screen, so just so I can keep up. And now I have a student that needs to put their name on their paper. In fact, this is this young man's first goal. All right, and you can increase the font size. All right, and we want Matthew to fill in his name. Okay, and you can go and continue to add those text boxes. But if I change it here, this is where I want to change it so that it stays. Well, I thought I was going to be able to change my font size. I should be able to. There it goes. I was happy fingers. So, again, they can annotate right on to the PDF. And if there's an illustration, I can change my color. And this is Alice with short hair. Okay, so you see some of the possibilities. Again, when you're able to make that a digital worksheet, what other students are you going to be able to support and engage? All right, so that is Cami, K-A-M-I. You would go to your MCPS Chrome store and add that app. And again, once that PDF is uploaded to your Google Drive, it will ask you how you're going to open it, and you will use Cami. Alice, do you have some other insights on Cami?
One of the things from a teacher perspective is that there are comments to the side, so you can actually grade it for the student and provide feedback if you wanted to. Or you could you could put in questions. Let's say if it was a reading text that you scanned in, something that the students had to do, you can put some scaffolding questions to get the student going in it. So there are a couple of features like that that you could use. There's a highlighting tool as well, so if you wanted the student just to highlight some parts of your, instead of typing, the student could go ahead and do that.
Where's the highlighting tool? I can't remember. This one. It's this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I would control my cursor a little better, but there's the highlighting tool. Sorry.
There are a few features that kind of mimic what you would do with Kurzweil, not totally, but you could set up to get that writing process and that reading process working for a student.
Okay, so in the next 1 minute, all right, because I'm going to stop sharing my desktop. I see that a couple, Marcella has said, yay, I love it. I will try this one tomorrow. So can any of you think of a student that would benefit from either of these?
Either of them.
Either of these, oh, my whole class. I love you, Jen, you Universal Design for Learning teacher, you. Yes, you too, Kelly. We love those general education teachers. All right.
All right.
All right, so it has been 37 minutes. If you have any, oh, okay, Riza, she has a student with CP, and many times those students who have physical disabilities tend to be the most successful with voice recognition, as it is critical life skill many times for them to be able to produce. And so, you know, again, getting to introduce that to many of the students in a classroom, and then being able to have choice. Do you want a keyboard? Do you want to do voice recognition? Do you want to handwrite? Again, providing those options. Yay, Max! Okay, Max Wright is our AT liaison all over, way over and down at Bethesda Chevy Chase. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you.
And trying them tomorrow.
Yes, the good news is Cami, once you've opened your PDF with Cami and its OCR, it works with Read and Write. So be sure to have Read and Write for Google added as an extension. It is an extension. So have that already loaded onto your account and your students' accounts. And we've been having some emails flowing around Read and Write for Google. And like we said, things change all the time. And getting your input on how it's working in your building, and there was an email I sent today, just, you know, we got to figure out how reliable this is. And being able to share, you know, what's getting in the way of it, you know, functioning as it should. And that's kind of, you know, part of our roles too, or your role in looking at the functionality and reliability of these tools.
And also seeing how often it happens, because sometimes it may not happen as often as you think. It just happens at a critical point. And so just monitoring how it's happening for students and how many students it's actually happening to, if something is going wrong, would also be a good feedback to provide for us.
All right, so if you have a chance, or if you have it in your mind of a day of the week or a time, throw that in the chat. And if you need time to think about it, throw it to us in an email. All right, and we'll compile it. Oh yes, Alice is sitting there going, gosh, we could have created a poll and it all been in one place, but we'll collate it. We'll make this work.
I think what I want to say is everybody, if they could, send an email to us giving us some times or dates that work best for you, days of the week that work best for you, then we can collate that and kind of figure it out. And it can be hours that are after school hours, or if you have a block of time within the school day that would work for you, and we'll try to see what we can figure out that's going to work best for the majority of our AT liaisons scheduling some of these days.
All right, and we'll get microphones to our new folks and do some more kind of microphone troubleshooting at the beginning, and because we'd like to hear from each and every one of you. Okay? All right. Anything else, Alice? Does anyone have any questions?
One last thing in terms of not everybody was here, but when we send the email out to everyone with the contact list, if people can just give a shout out to everybody, you know, introducing yourself, especially our, you know, so our new folks can know who's working in different schools, that if you have time for that, that could be a good community builder, because unfortunately this year we don't have our face-to-face set in stone where we get a chance to meet everybody. So if that's something that you guys can do, it will help build the collaborative feeling of our AT Liaison PLC.
All right, and Abby asked, will we be ponying the new people microphones? We can either drop off or we're ponying. We'll determine the safest avenue of getting them to you. All right, I'm just curious, Max, what class do you teach? And then I'll let you all go. What do you teach at BCC? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to find that out. A technology teacher. Oh my gosh. Ooh, awesome.
That's
okay.
Great.
Okay. Now,
and another thing to keep in mind is that we usually like to tap on our AT liaisons to be part of the presenters during this webinars that we do. So if there's something that you're doing that's really great in your school building, and you feel like sharing, just let us know so that we can schedule you in so they can share with the rest of the group.
All right, and the other thing, I know Riza sent out a little email today, just, you know, kind of celebrating. She added Read and Write to work with students, and just how that went. It was positive. So we want to hear, you know, it keeps us all moving forward, you know, just kind of pushes us along. All right, once again.
And I hope Riza is working with that 5th grade teacher at Sally Ride.
Woohoo! All right, so this is Cindy saying goodbye, and
Alice saying goodbye.
And we love our AT Liaisons. Thanks for making it today, and we'll be in touch. Bye.
See ya.